Hello, welcome back to the channel and Vlogmas. On Instagram, I asked you all some ideas for Vlogmas because I was kind of stuck on some more Christmas related type of videos. And one of you asked me to do a video on my ideal deaf Christmas. Now, I've never had a deaf Christmas before. It's always been with hearing people. I don't think I've ever hung out with a single deaf person for Christmas. Ever. Or I should be more specific, I never hung out with another deaf person who signs and isn't my abusive mother for Christmas. And since a few days ago, I did a video about being there for your deaf friends, family members, things like that, I thought this was a good video to have a few days later. So, for more Vlogmas related content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos. Also, if you would like to help support this disabled creator and the work that I do have a Patreon page if you would like to pledge monthly and you get perks like other videos and some writing, things like that. Always really helps me out, no obligation whatsoever, but if you do, thank you. So my ideal deaf Christmas, obviously I would be with other deaf people. I've been to a deaf gathering, or a mostly deaf gathering, but everybody knew ASL, except for the really old lady. But anyway, that was the 4th of July, mostly deaf, but all ASL gathering. And recently I went for Friendsgiving, although it turned out to just be my 2 friends, because everybody else left. But I really don't think I cannot remember ever having a deaf gathering for Christmas. I'm pretty sure I've just always been with the hearing people. Past relationship, hearing family, current relationship, all hearing family. And you know, sometimes, and I say this because it's honest, and I want to be honest and genuine, that can be very isolating, very difficult. I and others feel lonely because it's just a lot of, it's not accessible. It's not the most accessible. And even, you know, with apps for texting, writing, and things like that, yeah, there's still a feeling of isolation there because you're still the only deaf/disabled person there. Nobody is really getting that. So it's not surprising when you want to have another gathering that has just your deaf friends. Or, you know what, if I were to be hosting, I swear it would be like equal parts of hearing people and deaf people, and then I will find a way to make it as accessible as possible so that everybody can have a good time. Because it's not like deaf people and hearing people can't coexist in the same area. It's not like those of us who can't lip read or whatever can't converse with hearing people who don't know ASL. And I feel like I'm contradicting myself or something here, but I don't know. It's all a very complicated thing. Like, where am I going with this, really? Actually, I'm thinking of it. You know what? Get the TV, get Bill Vickers' channel rolling with all the ASL videos, and then the hearing people can go on there and try to like follow along so they can learn some ASL in the space. So that way they can have an ASL conversation. Yeah. I mean, I imagine it would be similar to how when I went to LA for the first time in 2015 and met other deaf people for the first time, but they were all signing, and you know, I knew water, and there was a little bit of a struggle, you know, going on with language, but it worked. Hand gestures and things like that. But I mean, where is the lie, really, right? I mean, holidays or anything is less stressful when you're around people who are like you, have the same conversation method as your communication method as you, and the emotions change completely. You know, even though I'm not fluent in ASL, I would still feel so much more comfortable being with all deaf people, even though I would mess up sometimes. And I actually remember, this was not during actual Christmas, but I remember it was at some point during December, and we had like a really early Christmas celebration. Okay, I remember this now. It was kind of like a work event. I was helping somebody with something. And while I did get drunk, you know, at hearing events or hearing family gatherings, I tend to go for the alcohol because it takes the stress off, and people tend to go more easy on me without understanding them, or somehow they tend to be more accessible for whatever reason when I use the I'm drunk line, I can't understand you, rather than the I'm deaf line. Don't ask me why. I think we know why. Yeah, I remember I was at that event and there was a lot of free wine and there was some crying involved because I was so overstimulated by everything, but I still felt so much more at home with all these other deaf people, new friends and stuff in Toronto, and it becomes even more of an ideal deaf Christmas because one, communication methods are the same. Also, there's no having to ask for captions or reminding people to put on captions, and nobody's been like, captions, which, captions hasn't really happened to me in the last few years, but I think 2 years ago, but the forgetting has happened at some point in the last couple of years. So accessible conversation, accessible TV, movie watching, and I don't know, the only real difference between my ordinary Christmas and my ideal Christmas is a lot more equal, accessible communication. So, like, really take everything I said that I'd like to do in the video that I did, things I'd like to do for Christmas, and just shove deaf people into it. And there you go. That's really all I needed to say. One of these days it'll happen, one day with all the hearing folks, and the other day, have a deaf gathering, and then, if at all, in the future, if I ever get to be the one to host, and I know a lot of people don't like hosting, or some people don't like hosting because it's a lot of stress, but man, if I got to be in charge of how things are gonna go, if you're not accessible, I'll throw you out. Mwahaha. Okay. Anyways. Let me know what your ideal deaf Christmas or ideal disabled Christmas, if you have other disabilities, what that would be. I want to know. Audio descriptions, wheelchair accessible things. Is this just our everyday accessibility needs, but for a holiday? Yeah. Oh well. If you would like to help translate this video, I have a translation link down below in the description box. Always helps me out. Give this video a share, thumbs up, also helps out. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I will see you later. Bye!